Do you know what time it is? What is up, everyone? How is everyone doing this after Christmas Boxing Day? We've had a kind of a crazy 24 hours. I think it's been about 24 hours now for Power Rangers, which I can say we have not really had in a long time. So that's pretty cool. So we do have a special guest going to join us here in a little bit. He is finishing up something, but as soon as he does, we'll bring him in here and we'll start the main topics of the show. But first, I wanted to say hi to everyone in the chat. We got Sean Metal. What's going on? First one. Chris Thomas. I met Chris at NostalgiaCon. NostalgiaCon was a lot of fun, guys. A lot of you guys there. I really appreciate those that came to the booth and to hang out. You guys made it so much better. The love that I had in Houston was amazing. So there may be other appearances that I will do throughout the country because of how well Houston went. So thank you to everyone. So we got Aries, we got Josh. It's Merry Christmas, one. It's Morphin Town. We got Nate, we got Nick, we got Campbell Cooley in the chat. What's going on, man? Happy holidays, everyone. Hope you've all had a great break so far. And yep, no break if you're a YouTuber, apparently, because like on Christmas Day, you're apparently going to have to work. So that's a thing. Everyone saying hi to Campbell. We got Maddie. We got Carter Blake. What's going on, man? Random question. Does anyone like doing laundry? I'm going to start a load before the stream starts. I don't mind it, but it's not my favorite thing to do. I don't like folding laundry. That's the big thing. We got DTV, man. We got Tyler. We got Gilbert. Man, we got a lot of people in the chat. We got Christopher. We got Robert and got Rangers of Dragons. Hey, everyone. Hope you all had a good Christmas. All right, guys. So we had 24 hours. I think between me and some of my friends, there's probably like 12 or 15 videos up about the topic already. But we're going to have a full show. We're going to talk about several things that happened this week. We'll talk about 3 things that happened this week. So we'll get to air that. But everybody, welcome to the stream. It has been like a year, maybe more in the making, because I'm in Texas and this dude is on another continent. And so everyone, welcome. Ash from Deoxy 360. What's going on, buddy?
What's going on? It's good to finally be here. Like you said, a year in the making because work, time zones. It's been crazy.
Baby, that's the issue.
Yeah.
That's good, man. How are things going? How's been your Christmas been?
Pretty good. I've had 5 days off work. I'm back Monday. But it's been nice to actually sit back and relax. I worked Christmas Eve, but aside from that, I've had like 5 days off. So I've been able just to chill out. I thought I was going to chill out, but then Jin dropped that bombshell on that Boxing Day.
Right. Well, for me, that was Christmas night. So
yeah.
That was the whole thing. So we're going to get to that topic here in a little bit. One thing that we've talked about kind of behind the scenes is how much we seem to like the same sort of stuff beyond Power Rangers. So one of the things I wanted to talk about tonight that was actually really big that happened just a couple of days ago was the Superman trailer. Did you get a chance to watch it, man?
Yeah, I've seen it. I really enjoyed it. Like, I feel like this is going to be a big thing,
right,
for Superman in general. Like, I like James Gunn's work. I love the Guardians films.
Right.
I've never been a big Superman guy. I love the Christopher Reeves movies as a kid. I never got into the later ones. I wasn't a big Man of Steel guy. But just something about this one, maybe it was how the trailer was edited. I don't know. Something about this one feels magical because they're not doing an origin story. It looks like this is a pre-established Superman.
Right.
But from what I've heard, like it's a flashback as well, but it's setting up a different event.
Right. So I don't know. Okay. So what I've heard, what James Gunn came out and said was, first of all, about the origin thing. He was like, we've heard it before. That's literally, he said, that's it. We're not doing Batman. We're not doing the crime alley again. We're not doing Krypton again. Like, we know the story. As far as an event happening, I haven't heard about that because I've been trying to be careful, like not to go specifically that deep into it. But at the same time, like, you know, we are entertainment channel, so we cover and we have a lot of it gets put on our feed whether we want it or not, right? So the big thing that I saw in here that is the biggest leak was that Ultraman was going to be a thing. Ultraman, what I've been hearing specifically is that it's not going to be a multiverse version of Superman, like an evil version, but it's going to be a clone. So more like closer to Bizarro, but they'll be calling him Ultraman. Maybe like, go ahead.
No, I was just looking up Ultraman because I just had to quickly look that character up.
Yeah, so I think he's from Earth 3. I can't remember, but it's a different version of Kal-El. Basically, it's not even necessarily Kal-El himself in some versions, but basically he's an evil version. One of them has like a mob. He's like a mob boss, Superman, but he runs the evil Justice League, and they're basically backwards. They kind of did a Justice League Unlimited episode, but they used, instead of calling him Ultraman, it was just like they call them the Justice Lords instead of that.
Okay.
So it was very similar to that. What I saw, there was a lot of good things. I think what James Gunn is very good at is bringing to a movie, and making you care about characters you would never care about. Who thought Guardians of the Galaxy would be one of the biggest franchises in the world? Like, that is just, I mean, I remember when they announced it and I was just like, why? Like, because I was familiar with Guardians of the Galaxy and I was like, why would you do a comic book that has been like canceled so many different times because it just never takes off and it's never particularly good, right? And I was just like, okay, that's odd. And then you bring in and you make him Star-Lord. You care about I can't even think of his name right now, but Michael Rooker. That's gonna bugger the crap out of me. Yondu, that's right, Yondu. Freaking Mantis and Drax, like these characters meant nothing to anybody before that movie, right? Now, I'm not the biggest fan of the Suicide Squad, but I appreciate it more than the original Suicide Squad.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And maybe it's because I was just like, man, I wish they would have given him like Batman, you know what I mean, or like Superman, right? Like that was kind of my thing. And he likes to focus on these, like I said, these out of weird characters, which is kind of good because it brings it. They're going to bring Metamorpho into this movie, so I'm like, that's a very off character. And then I don't know, are you watching Creature Commandos right now? Also,
no, I have not. I need to figure out where is that streaming in Australia so I can actually watch it. So I'll probably have to binge it. Yeah,
it's pretty good. Again, I didn't think I'd cared about The Bride or Frankenstein or Dr. Phosphorus. Again, characters that I'm aware of that just like mean nothing to me. And I'm like totally into it right now. So one thing that I felt like everyone universally loved, whether you hate James Gunn or not, was Crypto. And Crypto, what did you think about Crypto's presence in the trailer?
I didn't see it coming. Like I said, I haven't been following the Superman leaks too much or the trailers. But seeing it, it's on binge, so it's for Creature Commandos. But yeah, it's cool to see Crypto in here because we've never had like a live action Crypto before, from what I know of.
Yeah, and someone's bringing up a good point here as well. I'm only worried it will be too busy. Other than that, lost my clip. Only hope is coming from me. I really want it to be good, and I can see what the busy is because when I was watching this trailer, and I was like, "Is this a 4-hour movie?" Like, there's a lot going on in this trailer.
Yeah.
There's like something going on in that building. There's a kaiju, like there's Ultraman. There's something in the sky that's purple and pink and green and makes me think of Brainiac. Like there's a lot of stuff going on in this trailer. But seeing Crypto was really cool. I really enjoyed it. The home Crypto home, like, and then him just, I don't know what you thought, but like the intro to the trailer when he's like wheezing. What were your thoughts on, like, that was like a very holy crap, like, because everybody was thinking like this is gonna be happy Superman, and it's like he's like almost dying. What'd you think about that?
No, I like that scene. No, I definitely like that. I haven't watched the trailer too many times, but because I watched it once, but I like really powerful trailer.
Guy Garner is probably one of the least liked things of this trailer. With his, I don't even know what you like, this weird bullshit. Yeah. I saw this in the leaks and I was like, man, I hope it looks better on film. And it does a little bit, but like not enough to save it. I don't know what I know what he was trying to do. He's trying to go comic accurate, right? Like comic accurate circa 70s, 80s. Because now he's a regular crew cut now. But oh my god! But it was cool seeing Guy Garner in live action and this cool little Green Lantern scene. I don't know. What did you think of some of the cameos in this trailer as well?
What are the cameos in this? Is like Hawkman?
Oh, Hawkgirl.
Hawkgirl. Okay. Yeah. So she's in the trailer. I can't remember who's playing her, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought she looked really good too. Metamorpho had a quick.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really recognize what he was until I saw the spirals, and I was like, "Oh, that's Metamorpho." But it took me a second. Jim Carrey haircut. Oh, from Dumb and Dumber. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's a good pull. Well, speaking of who Hot Girl is, it is actually Isabella Merced. I made sure to put that picture in here because we didn't have a good picture. But she is now, for those in the chat, everyone knows that Becky G is mommy. But Isabella Merced may be making a run at that title. Not gonna lie, like this is very good. So yeah, I thought the Superman trailer was good. Now running the Facebook page that I run with a lot of engagement about this Superman trailer, particularly. I got everything all around. Some people loved it. People absolutely hate it. I got some people like spamming me because they think Snyder is God. And I'm not even like exaggerating. Like they were coming in my trailer or coming in
Snyder
my.
cult is crazy.
The Snyder cult is insane. Like I cannot say that enough. It is. It's just kind of like blind at this item, and it's got to a point where I was like, I'm just gonna start trolling with the post a little bit and just be like, oh my god, everything James Gunn is doing amazing, and people just like lost their minds when I say something like so one-sided like that. But I mean, Henry Cavill, I believed he really looked a Superman, right? And I think he embodied the Superman Zack Snyder set to put out, but it was a very different Superman than people were used to, and I was used to too. Like I'm a very big Superman person. I've grown up reading comics since I could learn. I learned how to reading comics. So it's something that's really part of me. And while I think my biggest issue with the Snyder Superman was the Man of Steel ending, which is if you haven't seen it in 11 years, that's on you. But where he snaps Zod's neck, like that was very like for a first outing for the Superman, like that was very non-Superman. You know what I mean? So I don't know. What did you think of Henry Cavill's Superman? What did that mean anything to you? I know you say you're not big on Superman, but I mean, I thought the movies were enjoyable. I thought Justice League was really bad. But other than that, I thought they were okay.
I have not seen Man of Steel like all the way through, and I haven't seen, I don't know if I'm going to cut a lot of slack in the chat right now, but I've never really seen I never sat through all of Batman v Superman or any of like the Justice League.
Wow. So I mean that's kind of your opinion right there in itself. It's darker. It's really darker for sure, and I can see it. I remember the first time I saw Batman v Superman, I didn't like it, and then I saw the director's cut, and it added so much context to it, and I was like, "This is why didn't they just do this?" Like they made it worse with the cuts that they made, right? The Joss Whedon's Justice League, I think, is horrible. Like it's just trash. It's trying to be Avengers, and it was never going to get there. And but while the director's cut, like the Snyder cut, the big thing that came out, it was better, but it still wasn't. It still wasn't like the brightness of DC sort of thing. Like there was a lot missing there. I think what they're trying to do was really cool, like for an Elseworlds story. Like definitely they were setting up a story that we had never seen before, right? Like on screen, which was commendable. But I think when you were trying to set something up like Marvel has set up, you need to start with the meat and potatoes, and I don't feel like they did that really well. And then, did you ever see Flash?
The TV show or the movie?
Oh no, the movie with Ezra Miller.
No.
Okay.
I know that the movie was uploaded on Twitter.
I did not know that, man. Campbell Cooley. Hi, Daniel. Hope you're having a great. I am, man. Thank you. I appreciate you being here. I hope you had a good holiday with yourself and your family as well, man. So, okay, we're gonna move on to the next topic. And me and Ash, I've watched Ash's videos here, and we differ a lot on this series.
Oh yeah, we've butted heads a bit.
Yeah, but I want to say while we're not mean about it to each other, we just have very different opinions of how this series is going. So, actually, you are the comic book Power Ranger comic book expert.
Yeah, that's what they call me.
I'm gonna start. For those that haven't read the comic, because I don't feel like it's really caught on with the fandom very much as like the previous iteration did. What would you, given these first issues that we got, would you give it a quick, like 2-minute, 3-minute overview on what it's about?
Yeah, sure. So back in July, the mainline comic ended after 8 long years, starting from the Kyle Higgins run all the way up to Melissa. And that basically closed the story on the Mighty Morphin team. And then a couple of weeks later, there was like the leak that we'd be getting a new Power Rangers comic series. And then when all the press came out, the best way to sum it up about doing the long story short is DC is doing the Absolute Universe, Marvel's doing the Ultimate Universe. This is just basically a brand new established universe in the Power Rangers comics that is not tied down to the previous lore. So it doesn't have to follow what has come before it. It can do whatever it wants. It's got established characters, it's got established concepts, but it's basically doing its own thing.
That's a perfect way to explain it. But now, before we talk about the series, we can both agree that Darkest Hour ended horribly, right?
Yeah, I was not a fan of it. Like, okay. I felt weird walking away from it.
Right. Like that didn't feel good at all. It felt like I do understand that it really looked like, and I think someone confirmed it, but Hasbro kind of pulled the rug out from underneath Boom and said, you need to finish this storyline now. And they had maybe like 2 or 3 issues to do that, but I don't think the way they did it, I would have just ended it. Like I just would have like, we'll continue this story someday. Like I think, I don't know. It just they set up a lot of exposition, a lot of conflict, and then they just like ignored it at the end. And I don't know what more you could do from that.
No, absolutely. I feel like with what Melissa was setting up, like this was set to be a year-long event. But then the pacing just started picking up and some things were glossed over.
Right.
And then you had Dark Spectre getting really powerful. I don't know if anyone's seen Naruto or Naruto Shippuden with the character Madara. And this is spoilers for the Naruto that ended 10 years ago. But the thing is, one of the villains got so powerful, and how they did it to sort of wrap it up is like another villain came in, took that villain spot and became like the final villain of the last 10 chapters.
Okay.
And then I think the creator said, oh yeah, Madara is like as powerful as Nappa from Dragon Ball, when this guy was like pretty like running circles around like Naruto and Sasuke's powerful forms. That's the best way to describe it. But I feel like that Melissa might, like, I'm waiting for the interview to come out with Melissa on Ranger Command.
Okay.
That way we can get probably some behind the scenes stuff of what happened. But I feel like that maybe Hasbro told Boom to wrap it up, or Melissa didn't know how to end it, and that's how we got the ending. Or she found out that the reboot was coming or something like that.
Right.
I don't know. I hope that like Melissa can one day like talk about it eventually later down the line.
I think it's going to be down the line. Even like the last time I talked to her, like she was talking to me like Darkest Hour was like going to be like a really like big setup thing, right? And then it changed. And I know something happened because I was talking to Matt Hodson about the return, and we were talking behind scenes. We did an interview, but we talked for a little bit off camera, or like not recording. And he had told me like they figured out the sequel, like they figured it out, right? And then I think like 4 or 5 weeks later was San Diego, and I didn't talk to him. I don't think I've talked to him since. I talked to him a little bit after San Diego, but at San Diego, I was getting reports from people were asking Amy Jo about the return sequel, and she was like visibly frustrated and pissed.
Oh shit.
Yeah, like she was not hiding how pissed she was about. She was like, well, I don't know if there's gonna be a sequel. Like she was doing that. And I was like, somebody give me video of just like her saying it. That way I can like not get her tone wrong, right? And she was pissed. Like she does not want to talk about, like she will obviously talk about the return and stuff like that, but like I think she kind of almost doesn't want to talk about it right now because like she wants to do the sequel and she's being pigeonholed for some whatever reason. And I think the reason we've heard well, I know I've heard, I'm sure you've heard as well, but is that, Hasbro came down and said, we don't want you touching Mighty Morphin for the time being. And that's what happened. And that's why they had to wrap up everything like the way they did, So
Crazy.
That's what I heard from Boom. I don't know if you heard something different or saw something different.
No, I haven't heard anything. But it feels like most people, when they end their comic run with Boom, I'm not going to say not all of them leave on a good note, but if you remember how Kyle felt when he left Boom, he didn't seem happy and he went off to do Supermassive and stuff like that.
Right. There's something going on. And then obviously Boom got bought out by oh my god, I can't even think of the company, but it's a major publishing company.
Penguin Press, Penguin.
Penguin Press, that's right.
Yeah.
And so that, you know, that could be part of it as well. I don't think it's a big part of it. I remember when that happened because I had somebody messaging me telling me like Boom lost the rights, and I was like, what? like I thought those were like, because, and then it did kind of line up because I knew that Hasbro was really trying to end whatever relationships that Saban started. Like, so, you know, they wanted out of New Zealand, they wanted out with Nickelodeon, they wanted out, and then the same Boom, like we want out with Boom, like that kind of lined up. And then our producer Kat, who's backstage helping with our stream right now, she went to San Diego and talked to Bryce Carlson, who's the VP over there at Boom, or was, I don't know if he still is or not, but with the buyout. But he had told us specifically that night that, you know, we could release the information that Boom was going to keep would continue to have the rights to Power Rangers. He wouldn't tell us how long he would have the rights, but they said, you know, going forward, they have the rights as it is right now. So
and that made sense because they still have like trades to release and hardbacks to release.
The only thing that was weird was, remember, they were announcing all those one shots that were all going to come out before January. Remember? So like all these little one shots were all going to come out for January. We're like, what is going on in 2025? And then like we didn't hear anything. But obviously we know now that Prime is the one that's going on to 2025.
Yeah.
Ranger Academy sort of got canceled. More like it didn't get renewed is what I think is the best way to put it. They had always set up a 12-issue arc, and then they just decided to end it forever after that. Now, I don't know about you. I know we'll get to Power Rangers Prime in just a second, but did you make it through Power Rangers Prime? Because I made it through like 4 issues and I couldn't do it anymore.
Do you mean Ranger Academy or?
I don't know. Oh yeah, Ranger Academy. Yeah, Ranger Academy. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Ranger Academy I covered all the way through on the channel. I wasn't feeling it for like the first four issues, and then once the story picked up, I was like, why couldn't they do this earlier? The thing is with like Ranger Academy, it's like the characters like will tell you how they're feeling. What's that Futurama line? Like, don't tell me how your character feels. That makes me feel angry. That line. And that's like what sort of bothered me with Ranger Academy, because like the main character Sage was super unlikable with how much of they were just a crybaby about themselves. And I knew that they would have their coming of age moment where they'd sort of pick themselves up, but it took so long to get to that moment.
I'm having a lot of trouble just I'm having trouble getting through it. And so I stopped, I think, at issue 4, and I was just like, I'm not connecting with this book at all. And
that makes sense.
And it's nothing to different books are for different people, and this book was not for me. You know what I mean? I can see why people appreciate it. It's very different from everything. And it kind of sets up a little bit of a backdoor universe for it a little bit, but it was hard. It was hard for me. And I didn't think it was particularly bad. It was just, I didn't find it interesting, which is getting to Power Rangers Prime. Now that I understand, you know what? Let's get your take on Power Rangers Prime for like the first 2 issues. What did you feel about it? I know without going too much, because you guys can obviously go watch
I don't want to spoil anyone. Like, it does feel like it is moving a little bit slow, but Melissa is setting up the world and the characters. So she's got to do that. But so far I'm enjoying it. Like, we're having like Lauren as a main character.
I do like that.
And Orion, which Melissa mentioned in an interview that she liked that character, so she wants to give that character the spotlight. The original characters, take it or leave it, like I'm still getting used to them. But can we talk about like the main spoiler in issue 1 that even though it got spoiled? Yeah, there it is. Do you know how this dropped online?
Bleeding Cool put out.
So Bleeding Cool leaked this. So do you get the press releases from Boom?
No, I don't. I'm not cool. Well, I thought
you're not cool with them.
I'm not that cool with that. They're like, we know who you are, but we're not helping you with anything.
So when they send out the press releases, like the solicitations, like they send them out on Friday, Saturday. And they didn't send out issue 1 for Power Rangers Prime because they said, we will not send this out due to we don't want certain spoilers getting out in case someone leaked it.
Right.
Bleeding Cool hours before that, I didn't know because I was avoiding whatever they were posting, leaked the VR Troopers thing. And I messaged Boom, me and Eric from Range Command messaged Boom going, hey, just letting you know that there's leaks floating around for this issue. And I believe that Boom got back to me or Eric and they said, we didn't send any press releases to Bleeding Cool. So they got it somehow from someone who got it.
They got something on the inside then. Ooh, we got some thing going on. And it's funny because Bleeding Cool, because remember, I don't know if you remember, I dropped that info about Bryce Carlson like on San Diego Comic-Con Friday night, Saturday night. And then the next morning, Bleeding Cool leaked the cover of issue 1 with the variant cover one. And I don't know if I have it. I think I might have it. This one, they leaked that cover, remember? So something's going on with Bleeding Cool then. Like they're just not like, we don't give a crap and just doing it. I first did not put this, or it was the VR Trooper, the page that you were talking about. I did not initially put that up. I put it up like with 6 photos, like this is a spoiler, this is a spoiler. And then I saw that Bleeding Cool, or I had saw that other people were just straight up putting the page up, and I was like, I'll put it up. But it had a good reaction. Like, I do think that VR Troopers being in a Power Rangers comic book is a good idea. Like, I think, it's the crossover that we never got. I do like some of the things about okay, let me give my thing on Prime. So I'll give it. A lot of people said I was unnecessarily hating on it, and I was.
It's not hating on it if you give it criticism. I think people need to understand that.
I like, okay, I'll start with what I like, because I think that's better. So I really like Lauren being the main character. I like Lauren being the fugitive, right? I like the way Rita looks now. I like that whole new attitude. I like the whole new design. I think it opens up the narrative more for Rita, which we kind of saw. I really like that at the end of Darkest Hours. Like, ooh, what's going on with that? That was really interesting to me. And I like that. I do like the VR Troopers being there. Now, here's what I have a problem with. And part of it is they're pigeonholed because, like you said, they're trying to do something that doesn't have ties to previous lore. But I don't necessarily like that we're in a police state universe, like I don't, I think that makes it really weird. Well, we bring in the Altarians, like the Altarians come in and they've taken over Earth. That's the first 2 pages of Power Rangers Prime. So I'm not spoiling it, but I'm not digging that as well. And there's like a whole like Earthlings themselves are refugees and this whole thing to it. I don't think it's a good idea doing that with the Power Rangers comic book. Now, like if you were to come in and like say, like there's ways to do it where, Power Rangers are still being hunted. There's an issue, like there's ways to do about it. But I think taking the realism out of Power Rangers is what kind of hurts it a little bit. Like you're just making a whole different thing. And I'm not really digging that. Okay. My biggest issue with the first 2 issues of Power Rangers Prime is that there's no Power Rangers. Like we have no Power Rangers in Power Rangers Prime. And we had a little bit, and I did put the page here because this is the only time we got Power Rangers, was this right here, was this panel in the first 2 issues, was to set up that Lauren, is from the long line of Samurai Rangers. They've existed, and then the Altarians came in the 50s or something like that and changed everything, right? So this is it. And while I totally understand that you're trying to set up a whole new universe and set up characters and storylines, and I get that, right? But like if you pick up a Batman comic book, a Batman #1, absolute Batman #1, right? You're gonna get Batman. Yeah. Like,
no, absolutely.
And I think that's my biggest issue. And here's the thing with that is that you have to spend, comics are $4.99 now, right? So like you, or at least here in the United States, so this is not like a promise I'm going to come back. You need to get me to come back. This isn't, and I know we had talked about this in comments, like this is not the show formula. And I was like, yeah, I totally understand that, because the show at least got promised like at least probably 10 episodes.
No, I get that.
And it's like, okay, I know that's coming, but I don't have to spend an extra,
5 months. Yeah.
Go to the comic store, or if you're a person like that, or me, like I think you may do it as well. Digital media, download it.
Yeah, digital media.
Whatever that is, you have to get me to spend that $5 again to do that. Comic books are an investment, right? So And these you pay to read these stories. Do I want to pay? I think if I wasn't covering this after issue 3, if something's not happening, I probably wouldn't be buying it. Now,
no, and I get that.
I mean, I guess, what do you think about what I'm saying here?
No, and I feel that, like, I get that. Like, a lot of, like, you want to see Power Rangers in your Power Rangers comic, and it is taking a while for it to build up. And that makes total sense, because with all those earlier runs where a different writer took over, whether it be like the soft reboot that Ryan did, or even Kyle's first issue, you got Power Rangers in that first issue.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's my issue with it right now. I can see the potential in it for sure. Mm-hmm. Now, one thing I really did enjoy in the last issue was the retooling of Bulk. I thought that was really cool. I think if we're gonna do this, we're gonna make him a soldier, and we're gonna make him a competent soldier. Which at that, and I was like, that's cool. You know, like, it was kind of a different take. I can do different takes on existing characters. Like, that's essentially what the comics did in the first place, right? So I can totally do that, right? Even Orion, like, I'm kind of digging like him being quirky and kind of like a blonde a little bit, or dim-witted a little bit, but it's still like super lovable. Like, I can do that, right? Even Lauren still kind of Lauren, like, she's always kind of angry, and but she has more reason to be angry here. So I kind of get that together. But I think, and we both kind of covered this, some news that broke this week, which we thought was going to be the most major news of the month, was the redesigned suits, right? Yeah. And I'm like, I love this. Like, this is good. I enjoy this. I just want to give a quick shout out to Wanda Santana. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. What's up, Patrick? How you doing, man? What's up, Ray?
Hey, Patrick.
So, like, this is exactly what I was like. I said in my first video, Power Rangers Prime is an opportunity to show how, like, whenever they get this, the live action going, or the whatever going, like, there's a way to do it without having to go and say, like, it has to be Mighty Morphin, but it can be Mighty Morphin inspired. And I feel these suits are really good. What are you thinking about them?
No, I love these suits. We've got like the pink, purple. Well, it's pink. Is apparently there was a printing issue with.
I put both versions. So this was the version we got first, which I'm not gonna lie, I think I like the purple more.
Yeah, a lot of people when I've showed this to, they said they like the purple because it's different than having the pink. But I like these suits. Like, you can have it Mighty Morphin inspired, but it's doing a different theme for each one of the Rangers.
Right. And I get obviously you see
idea
elements.
What those things are.
Like, I see elements of Omega Rangers. I see elements of Dino Charge. I see a little bit of Dino Thunder with some of the sharp diamonds on them. Like, it does. I think it does really, really well. It does a really good job. I want to use the original artwork here because it just pops so much more.
Oh yeah.
They're not necessarily like Triceratops, or this is clearly Tyranno with the Red Ranger. But I'm thinking the Yellow Ranger is some sort of, I think it's either the Pterodon, maybe. I can't figure it. What I can't figure out is what the Black Ranger is. What is the Black Ranger? Do you know?
I've heard Snake because of the fangs.
Okay. I think someone said that to me on one of my comments. I know, like, I think Morphin Master was just like making up some stuff again. And just like, this is like Titan Boa or something like that. And I was just like, what? Like, this is my guys. Like, I don't throw shade a lot, but like, Morphin Master, don't listen to that guy. But yeah, everything else I think looks really good. I even like, I thought immediately, oh, there's a horns Triceratops, right? And I was like, oh, unicorn, but it's still kind of like, oh, Thunder Zords a little bit, but it's probably not, like, but still kind of reminds me of it. It looks really cool.
It could be a unicorn or Quillin. That Monster Hunter's got it, but that's what the Thunder Zord is based on from Chinese mythology.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I think people have gone way more deeper than I got on it. I was just like, they look cool. So, all right. So, last thoughts on Power Rangers Prime. Anything that you want to talk about real quick before we get to the main event?
I'm spending money on variants, so
the variant covers have been really, really good. I do have to say that.
I'm trying to get all the season variants, like each one they've done, like what they've done, one for Turbo, one for Zeo so far. So I've been getting that. That anime one I wanted that one, but I can't find it.
Oh,
man. I really like that style.
If I see it, I'll let you know. I haven't been to the comic store in a bit, but I
It's
probably need to go anyways.
apparently it's like an eBay exclusive, which sounds weird to say out loud.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't know that. I like this one. I like the. I don't think it's here. There was another one that I liked. I can't think of what it was, but this one's cool too. I like this one. It shows off the arm a little bit more. Obviously, people were quick to message Aaron and like, "Hey, they're still in your Legend of the White Dragon design." And I was like, "Dude, I think they're just making different stuff." So, like, but yeah, it looks pretty good. The variant covers look amazing. I'm gonna go to issue. I'll probably review it up until issue 5. Issue 5 is my make or break because I think they earned it. With if they're going to bring in these suits on issue 5, I think they earned me going to issue 5 to review it.
Right, that makes sense.
I obviously like they actually earn it, but like it's worth it for me, I guess, basically.
I'm in it for the long haul. I'll cover it until all the comics stop.
But you're the Power Rangers comic book guy. Like that's your thing, dude. You should. And I think it's good for you because you see more things positive than I do. So that's
yeah.
You need to be the equalizer. You need to be my white blaster Beetleborg to your Shadowborg.
No, and that's the thing. Everyone does their own different things. Josh covers the toys. Right. You're a bit of everything.
Right. You're the comic book. Dan is right now doing those reviews. He's doing the catalog, man. That thing is insane, man. So,
yeah.
I don't know how he's doing it. He's doing like 3 episode videos a day, and I'm like, I barely get out one sometimes. So
yeah, when you work 5 days a week, it's like hard to push even one video out for the week.
Although I've been seeing you've been putting about a video every day, like during Christmas break.
Yeah, because I got the Christmas break off.
Which is good because like we actually had news to talk about during the Christmas break. This crap never happens. This is weird, man. Like I think we were so like spoiled for so long. You know what I mean? And then like we get to like these dark times and it's like we really like think about like how good we used to have it.
No, absolutely. Like 2019, 2020, there was like something to talk about each week.
Right.
Like that's what I miss. So I miss talking about Lightning Collection leaks or when Illuminati was posting some stuff back in the day. Like
and we never know if it's true or not because it was Illuminati or like.
I'm cool with most of them over there, but yeah.
I don't think it's funny because I think I know people in the Illuminati, but I don't think like I know they're in the Illuminati. Like I know Josh is a part of it. I think I've met some other guy, but like I'm not. And maybe that's a good thing or a bad thing, but like I'm pretty bad at recognizing like other YouTubers or other like press people. Like there's you, there's Dan, there's Casey, and I think that's and Josh obviously for Power Rangers. Like that's all. That's my circle for Power Rangers. You know what I mean? Like that's it. And obviously I follow some things for other things for like Marvel and Superman, but that's different. So it's weird though. And I didn't start up my YouTube until I was like 2022. So I came in like in the middle of the Lightning Collection. But I wasn't even doing that at first. I was doing toy hunts because I thought I was going to have money. And then I learned I was having a kid. So never mind. Okay. So the everyone is here for, I've made this pretty banner. I never even turned it on. Okay. So guys, last night, I guess morning for you maybe, but
morning for me.
We found out that let me explain who Daniel Richman is first. So Daniel Richman is a CNBC former writer. He's like Business Insider. He has, his tentacles in many different aspects of the entertainment business. Okay. So he is not just like some random dude that posted on Twitter. He is somebody in the entertainment business. Now, I said in my video, like he has not been as accurate as late. But I did give a reason for that. And I was like, because a lot of the things he covered was Marvel and DC, and a lot of the Marvel and DC stuff has been changing constantly. Obviously DC got bought out, or the Warner Brothers got bought out by Discovery. There was a whole regime change. Snyder got fired. Then we get to Marvel, like they like axed the whole entire Kang dynasty. Like, they changed a lot of things after some failures on TV end as well. So like a lot of things have changed. So his information may have been accurate at one point, but it was no longer become accurate for different reasons. And now someone quoted me as like, he is at a 99.5 success rate in his predictions. And I'm like, okay, cool. I didn't even have the statistics. So that's awesome. So he basically posted this thing. It was on his Patreon, but what it basically said was that Hasbro was working with Paramount Pictures to have a new Power Rangers movie come out, and that there was also talk of an animated series. And this Power Rangers movie was going to be a theatrical Power Rangers movie. And further information on that was like they were probably interested in not only funding this movie, but also like buying the media rights in general for Power Rangers. So that is the information that we got from Daniel Richmond. A lot of this information came based on a list that Paramount put out of what do they call it?
Financial something probably.
Conceptual films that are in development, like in early development. And Power Rangers was on there, and that's what kind of spurred like all this in. I know Jinsaku came in and kind of said a little bit as well. I quoted Multiverse because Multiverse like spelled it out really beautifully, but multiple sources have said now that Hasbro and Paramount have been in negotiations for the last several months. Paramount Skydance are likely to attain the media rights for the brand. The film potentially for a late 2026 release. I think I heard the same thing. I didn't know about a movie, but I heard something was going to be coming out in 2026. And then he put a new Power Rangers movie is in development with talks of anime shows happening. Now, Jinsaku also reported this on as well. I'm careful about putting Jinsaku on my channel because people just like immediately attack him. So I just started with other sources because his sources his sources originally originated from Daniel as well. So that we'll just start from there.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, I know we both made videos on this, and we'll start kind of bringing the chat a little bit more into the conversation. But what did you think about hearing this news? Like, well, how was your reaction? I don't know if you had any inside sources like or knew something's going on, but what did you think?
I didn't know. This caught me off guard as well. Like you have that moment, oh, here we go again. But I guess hearing that it's Paramount, and after the success that Paramount has had with some of its projects, like the Sonic movie just came out, that's done really well.
Right.
That's done fantastic for them. They've got the Transformers movies and TMNT. They do really well for them.
Right.
So I feel like what Monty said, knowing that those brands are successful for Paramount, Paramount can have a shot at Power Rangers. And if it works, it works. It doesn't, it doesn't. But hearing that is actually in early productions is good to hear because I think in the summer was when we found out about the Netflix deal falling out with Hasbro. So hearing that actually they're actually still trying is good to know.
Yeah. And so what I had heard, and I heard this maybe like 9 months ago or 10 months ago, was like expect something Q4, Q1 of this year, like some sort of news. And I was like, okay. I don't think they were talking about this. I think they were probably talking more like official news, not like Daniel RPK, right? But and it sounds like that news is kind of imminent at this point. But and like with something probably like a 2026 thing. And it's funny because that source also told me like everything that Jinsaku said has been like not true. And I was like, really? And they're like, yeah, like none of it. And I was like, even the stuff with like the female Red Ranger or the 10 episodes of they were going to focus on 10 episodes of Power Rangers and make them into like episodes of that. And he's like, no, that's not. And I was like, really? And I was like, okay. So I was like, so that's why I kind of didn't report too much on it. And I was just like, okay, that's different. So he was just like, just it'll come out eventually, and just when it does, you'll know what it is. And I was like, okay. When I heard Paramount, I was like, that's it. And I was like, that makes complete sense of everything else that I was hearing. So the Netflix thing fell out for a whole different reason. I actually heard some different stuff as far as like what Jonathan Entwistle's project actually was. And it's funny because a lot of people are talking about like so positively about it. And what I was hearing was like, and I heard this from different people, like it was like not the same, like what I was hearing, like positive. It was very negative, like bad, like he wasn't even trying, sort of thing. So, and apparently like he was very quick to move on to Karate Kid Legends. Let's put it that way. But so I'm probably saying too much, but you know what? You guys are hearing the live stream, so you guys get to hear it. But so when I was hearing like another partner, because we got that news over the summer. I think it was the summer where like they talked about it was like a little snippet from someone, the CEO from Hasbro. Remember, he was like saying like expect news soon for like visual media, right? Or for like entertainment media.
Mm.
And we were like, okay, like, you know, they're actively working on something. And we just all assumed it was a series. Like that's because that's what it's always been, right? And you know, Paramount Plus right now, they're investing a lot of money into Paramount Plus. You know, they just brought over a lot of the Showtime stuff as well to add to their library. Obviously, they were talking about like the Sonic stuff. They had the Knuckles Paramount Plus exclusive. Yellowstone is exclusive to Paramount Plus now. Like they're building up that catalog of what they want for IPs, right? So that makes sense. Like Netflix has Stranger Things, you know. Peacock had WWE, but you know they'll have, you know, the Universal films and stuff like that. Netflix is not going to have WWE, and everybody sort of has something. Paramount, while they had Sonic, like they're just getting started with like these, you know, other projects that they're doing. Like there was Knuckles. I'm sure they're going to do something with Shadow. I've heard maybe a spin-off movie or possibly a series, like a limited series on that as well. So it makes sense that they want to build that up. And Paramount Plus, I don't know if anybody has it. It's pretty good. They have some pretty good stuff on there. Like it's a legitimate good streaming thing to have. It comes free with some you know, cable providers if you have some. I was looking at Spectrum. So if you're in the United States and you get the Spectrum app, Paramount Plus comes for free with it. So just letting you guys know.
Yes.
I'm doing like I should like totally get paid for this. Anyways, yep, Paramount won't mess around. So here's the thing, like, you know, Hasbro has had that long relationship with Paramount with different IPs, like you brought up, like Transformers. They've done the G.I. Joe movies back with the Channing Tatum ones, and now they even like helped on, even though it was E1 that did Snake Eyes, they were the distributor for G.I. Joe Origins, right? For Snake Eyes. So I was like, okay, like all this makes sense. Now, the one thing that I don't know about, because Hasbro was so quick to get out of it, was their affiliation with Nickelodeon. And that's the only thing I'm not sure about. Like if we will see Power Rangers again on Nickelodeon. And I don't know. What do you think about that? Because you remember they hated the contract.
I don't think so. I don't think. Sorry if I cut you off. I don't think we'll see Power Rangers on Nick again, possibly, because that deal was with Saban years ago. And if you remember how how Nickelodeon treated Power Rangers, it wasn't the best. It was in terrible time slots. It had no promotion. No one knew it was airing. Like that's the thing. Like, and like it used to get good promotion, like back during like Samurai and Super Samurai, Megaforce, Super Megaforce, because that was the 20th anniversary, kind of a big deal at the time.
Right.
After Dino Thunder, I think it just kind of fell off.
Yeah.
After that, well, not Dino Charge, it just fell off after that. So people just stopped caring because they probably had bigger shows they wanted to put their SpongeBob's in there.
TMNT.
Henry Dangerfields. Yeah, TMNT.
Well, and then the 45 different, you know, Transformer cartoons that were out.
Yeah. But even people say TMNT, like the 2012 version, got the short end of the stick because people used to say no one knew when new episodes was going to be out unless Andre made a video about it. So unless you like SpongeBob or maybe one of their like first party stuff, they're actually putting money into it, and then they'll promote it. But even like Legend of Korra was a show that had its budget cut in half from Nick back in the day.
Right.
Yeah.
And they were focused on what was their big thing? Ben 10? Or no, it's Cartoon Network.
Ben 10 was Cartoon Network, yeah.
I'm trying to think what was Nickelodeon. Because I had, at that time I was married, I had stepkids, and all the Nickelodeon Disney shows kind of ran together. I never knew what was on. But yeah, you're absolutely right. And you know, there was also like, you know, they had to have the 23 episode seasons, and that kind of like messed with the footage that they were using from Sentai and stuff like that.
Yep.
So there was a lot of things that, you know, Saban didn't necessarily like about Nickelodeon, although it was like profitable for him, like specifically him. And then Hasbro wanted out as soon as they got the brand. Hasbro wanted out. So this is the only thing that I think doesn't line up with the Paramount, with the possible Paramount deal, is it them being on Nickelodeon. But that doesn't mean they couldn't be on Paramount Plus. So before we get to the movie, because I just remembered, like I didn't prep anything else other than the movie, but part of this was the animated series. Now, I came out. I've always been of the mindset that, you know, it would be beneficial for Power Rangers to have something that's specifically geared towards children, right? Towards younger children too, and then have something like an additional, you know, something going on for a slightly mature audience, i.e., like, you know, the MCU movies, the DC movies, but like, you know, the children's show be like something like Teen Titans Go, or, you know, I don't know, that Marvel, the Spidey Friends show that's on Disney Plus right now, like something like that like generates like the really small toddler age kids, and then, you know, feeds them into the bigger genre. What do you think? Obviously, a lot of people want to see, like, you know, animated series based on Boom Studios. I know Melissa wants that. She told me that specifically herself.
No, I would love to see that as well.
What do you think what it will be, though?
It's hard to say. Like, I feel like Power Rangers can work animated if it's done right. It's just, what can they adapt? Can they just do like Mighty Morphin? Can they do its own universe or something like that? It's hard to say. Like,
Right.
But whether it's like a young adults animated series or something geared towards kids, see what happens. I feel like if they do it animated, I feel like you can hit sort of like the young teen audience. Like Invincible is animated, and that's a superhero.
Right.
You can hit the older
Invincible
audience.
is very adult, though.
Yeah, very adult. Yeah, I feel like they can hit that market if they aim for the adult audience. But I feel like if it was animated, maybe make it something for like preschoolers and that, like the Spidey show or stuff like that. That could work as well.
Right. And so my only issue with that is it's sort of like kind of like the DC rule, right? Like, you wouldn't do something that would interfere with the performance of something else, right?
No,
so
true.
like, if you went and did something like Invincible, or, you know, just something more adult oriented, like with the Boom Studio stuff, right? And then you have the movies competing with it, and say like the movies aren't doing that stuff, I think that would run into a big issue as far as like, you know, well, the audience wants to see this, but they're doing this, right? And the reason I bring up, like, so like Sonic is like in this really like sweet spot, and I think this is where you can kind of learn from it. Oh my god! So the nurse would love Cobra Kai actors as Rangers, though it kills me that they're aging out as playing teams, especially Tanner. However, Kenny is Zach, Devin can play Trini, and Zara and Kim would be. And we'll talk about that in a second. But there's a lot of talk about Cobra Kai and Power Rangers, and the connections that they have as well there. So, so what, bringing back to my point is like, I think that would be hard if it's not like a James Gunn thing where like the cartoons are part of the overall narrative of the movies, right? Then I don't think that would be the way to go. Now that's what we want to see, because we know how awesome the comics have been and those storylines have been, right? But like, we don't want to step on a movie's shoes. It's just hard. It's hard. So I think you start with the kids' children's show, right? And you start with the movie, and you have those going. And if at least one of those is going good, then you move into other things, right? Like do an animated movie. Like, I think an animated movie would make sense for, you know, and do a prequel and lead it all up to Shattered Grid, right? So like, I think that would be a good idea as well. So we'll get to some of the comments here real quick. The suits will probably look like Mighty Morphin, and that's the thing. So I think it's hard to get away from Mighty Morphin, just because of how
iconic.
Yeah, and someone said in one of my comments today, they were saying like, when you say Power Rangers, what's the first thing that comes to your head?
And it's Mighty Morphin.
It's Mighty Morphin.
Green Ranger, Tommy, stuff like that. The original 6.
Right. And it may not be like that for 25% of the fandom, right? But if you go tell, you know, your mom, right, or your mom or dad, and like, hey, mom, dad, Power Rangers, what do they think of? They think of the thing that they bought you as a kid, right? So like, that's from a complete, like, some of that, assuming that your parents are not like in the fandom, but someone from outside the fandom, they're like, yeah, that's a Power Ranger. You know what I mean? So they're gonna think of Jason. Everyone thinks of Jason first, even before Tommy. I don't know why, but they think of Jason. So because it was our first leader. But how likely is it that Power Rangers crosses over with Transformers and maybe even G.I. Joe because of this movie? I think it's a big possibility, a big one. I think they want to do that. I think they want to make a Paramount Hasbro universe. I think they really want to do that. So now talking about the movie a little bit more. Yo, what's up, Dan? How you going, man? He's already put out like 17 videos about this one topic, I bet you.
I wish I could do that.
Oh man, I know, right? I don't know how he makes every video different. I just That dude's amazing. So, one of the things I was talking about was like you have to go back to the 2017 movie and say like what worked and what didn't work, right? And I think the 2017 movie is looked upon more positively now than it was back then. I don't know. What do you think about the 2017 movie before we get into that?
Like, I love the 2017 movie. Like, I feel like as years go by, like you appreciate it as years go by. Yeah, it's different from what we were expecting, and it's a good hero's origin film. But I feel like we could have got something special if they kept continuing it.
Yeah, I do too. There was a lot of things they did right, and what I think they did wrong was that they assumed that they were going to have multiple movies,
Right.
and it was like they were told like we know about the 7 movie picture deal that
Oh,
they
yeah, I
had,
remember that.
like we know about all those details, so they assumed like the second movie was absolutely going to happen, and then it didn't, and then they were like, well, crap, like it didn't happen, so we were kind of left with things. I think some of the things that people didn't connect with, and I brought this up in my video as well, is the suits. Like I think people wanted to see more of what they were used to instead of like a total reimagine, right? I think that was an issue. Although, like I look at the suits now, I'm like, oh, it wasn't that bad. But like at the time, you wanted something more Mighty Morphin, right? There was other things in the issues with the movie, like there was no morph technically, like it was there was no like morph calls, and just like what's happening, like oh that sort of thing. One of the
It
big
came out at a weird time as well.
right, it came out during that DC Marvel feud kind of going on.
And Boss Baby, so we got crushed by that.
Did it really get crushed by Boss Baby?
I think it came out at the same time as Boss Baby. I'm trying to look up movies in 2017 when they came out, but I think it came out like same time as Boss Baby.
Okay, well, I remember seeing Boss Baby in theaters too, so I'm probably part of the problem. But I did go see Power Rangers in theaters too. I remember that.
Oh, I did as well.
I went on a Thursday, like the day before it came out, sort of thing. So another thing, and one thing for me, I think one negative thing for the 2017 movie for me was the Megazord, right? Like it was not reminiscent of anything. Now I didn't want a dude in a suit, like I didn't need that, right? I knew I was gonna get CGI, but I would have liked like the Zords sort of going the same places that they did in the show did. You know what I mean? Like, I can appreciate a different looking Megazord, but didn't have any of the spirit of the original, And I think even Bruno was talking about in an interview, like he got to look at this Megazord early, right? And he kind of looked at them like, why are you doing this? Like, why are you trying to be so different? And he was really supportive, and obviously he's always supportive of the brand, but like, I think he even has like guys like, he has some reservations, like, why would you make it so different from everything else? But now one of the things I absolutely hated in this movie was Goldar.
No, I hate that Goldar as well.
And what
Even
Goldar,
Kerrigan hates it.
Yeah, I mean, what?
Kerrigan, who voices Goldar.
Oh, yes, I don't even talk to him about that. So yeah, this is not Goldar. This is just a monster of the week. Like this, that's the thing. And I wish they wouldn't have done that with Goldar. But like, that's sort of nitpicking. It's sort of not, but it's sort of nitpicking. You know what I mean? But there was a lot of good things, and one of the great things that came out of this movie was the cast. The cast was ahead of its time. Like that is ridiculous, and not pictured is Bryan Cranston and Elizabeth Banks. Like, come on, like this is insane. You got R.J. Seiler, Naomi Scott, Ludi Lin, Becky G, and Dacre Montgomery. All these guys are, I would say, at least 4 of the 5 are major movie stars now, and the other one's a pop star. So like it's insane what this thing did. Yep. Now, so we saw the things that didn't go well with the movies. Now, what were some of the reasons why? And we have to look back at the 1995 movie. Now, people look at this movie like gold. I don't know. Let me before I get to that, what are your thoughts and memories of this movie?
I remember watching it over and over again on VHS. I remember the toys. I remember I never saw it in cinemas. I saw it when it came to VHS. But I just remember the toys. I remember watching it over and over again.
Right.
It was like I feel the soundtrack. I had the soundtrack on cassette tape, like that soundtrack, that Higher Ground song by Red Hot Chili Peppers. That is still like an iconic song.
I remember this came out around the same time as Batman Forever, and I was a big thing. Like, I don't know. I used to buy, I didn't used to buy. My parents used to buy me the soundtracks for movies that I liked. And I remember Batman Forever had like, Kiss from a Rose by Seal. U2 had a bunch of different songs on it that weren't in the movie. And my brother got the soundtrack from the movie, right? And like he actually got it on cassette tape. And I remember my parents saying like, we like the Power Rangers one more because we actually heard those songs in the movie. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like that movie had a great soundtrack. Like that was insane. And maybe I'm thinking this wrong, but maybe it was something else. I was thinking maybe Simon Cowell was a part of the soundtrack or something like that. I can't remember.
Simon Cowell?
Simon Cowell. Simon Cowell has a history with Power Rangers. He started with Power Rangers.
Really?
You're like, yeah, I gotta look it up.
No, I am looking.
Yeah,
the soundtrack. Let's see, MMPR the movie. Music composed by. Okay, I'm on.
I know Simon Cowell for a fact has a history with Power Rangers. We'll go through some of the comments while he's looking up. Let's see. Oh yeah, we talked about that. Is there another Tommy Oliver? It just won't be the same. Oh, that's an issue. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. What about Bio Armor look for in 2017, but with the OG look? I think I need a little bit more like detail on how you think that would look. Paramount, it will put a lot of Power Rangers. Look what they did with Star Trek franchise. You know what? That is a very good point because Star Trek is everywhere right now. They totally bought in with that. Paramount won't mess around. Maybe Paramount partner with Toei. I don't think they would have to be a partner with Toei to do the movie.
No, I don't think so.
Especially if they do a redesign. The TMNT stuff, yep, they have a long history of TMNT. Crossover animated TMT, and I think that's a good idea for an animated movie.
I would like to say that.
That's a good deal. They did the Batman TMNT crossover movie. I think that's something you can put out if everything's going well. That's a good idea.
Oh no, you're right. Simon Cowell on the Wikipedia. Sorry to cut you off. But the UK release of the album featured a dance remix of the Power Rangers produced by Simon Cowell.
Wasn't exactly, but I knew it was part of it. So it was like, I love the alien bio armor look from 2017. I like the idea of it being alien bio armor. I just didn't like the look of it. Yeah. And it was on cable exclusively. If you were used to watching on basic TV, you were screwed. Oh, okay. You want to see the damage caused by the Megazord fight? Yeah, I can see that too. Well, I mean, instead of just the fireworks that we usually get. Okay, so I think a lot of this movie is the 1995 movie is driven by nostalgia. Like a lot, because like it's a hard watch now. Like it really is, and it's visually
CGI.
Yeah, I mean, it was very CGI early, like sci-fi movie budget, but what it had going for was like the monster suits and the Ranger suits and the Ninjetti suits. I think, and they were colorful. Like it was appealing to the eye, right? But as much as I love the original cast and how much they are legendaries, oh man, well, I'm going to say this because even though I know most of them, some of them are not the best acting people.
Oh no, I can go back and say that, like going back when you rewatch the first Mighty Morphin season or even season 2, like actors like Karen Ashley is probably not the best.
Dennis, Johnny Bosch's early stuff is not very good either.
Karen Ashley, I think Family Guy made this comparison. It's like you repeat what's going on for the blind audience, where they'll say exactly what's going on, so they repeat it.
Right. It's a hard watch for actors and acting wise, right? There's some high points, obviously. Robert Freeman, Ivan Ooze, classically trained actor, it was amazing. Dulcia, she was great, but activated a lot of kids of puberty. You're probably on site, but we're attracted to the nostalgia of it. We did talk to the creator of the suits, while the suits looked amazing, they weren't practical, and they weren't practical for filming. And I don't know if you've ever watched this interview, but he basically told us like Fox came to him, they had already bought the material, and they said use this, and he said the actors will suffocate, and they said tough shit, put it on them, put it on them. And he was like, okay. And he made it. And he tried to put AC vents. He tried to put and installing ACs in their helmets. And he was like, they were going to use this for the TV show. Like that was the entire plan, was them for you to come back in the season 3 and use it. He said, but they were like, I'm sure you heard the story, like they were passing out on set, and they were afraid to do that in LA heat. So
yeah, that makes sense.
Although the suits look really great, they didn't hold up. A lot of the actors complained about their weight and stuff like that. But I think that's what we look at right now as far as like things that worked. So things that worked here didn't work in the 2017 movie, and things that didn't work in the 2017 movie worked. You know what I mean? Like it's like they have the opposite issue, right? So it's really interesting. Like, you know, you look back at both movies and you're like, there's a formula here to get things right. Like I mean, this isn't the best looking Megazord either. This may be an issue, but at the time, I still want this toy. Like, I need a movie accurate.
I think I got it
from the custom guy.
No, I've got the legacy version.
Oh no, but I'm talking about with this face, like and chromed out and everything. Like,
okay.
There's a custom guy that makes like a visually or a movie accurate version of the Ninja Megazord. And I was like, I do need that, but you know, there was issues with it here, but like we all thought like this was like state of the art at the time. So like it has to pass, right? Like, and obviously, you know, this you can see like, you know, the different colors that come together, although this isn't the original Megazord, but you can see that as well. And then I obviously put the wrong picture here because I would have put a better HD photo, but you know, I still stand by these Ninjetti suits are some of the best Power Ranger suits we have ever gotten. And
I love
they're
them.
not traditional Power Ranger suits. So kind of gets us to, I had the whole thing, but I guess we'll talking about a little 2017. Have you kept up with the 2017 cast a little bit?
Darcy's in Stranger Things. Naomi, I don't know what she was in Aladdin. As you got there,
right? And then she was in Smile 2 this year,
I haven't seen Smile 2, but yeah, I heard she was in that.
It's really good.
Becky G, I don't. Yeah, he was in Mortal Kombat.
Right, he's Liu Kang.
Yep.
So RJ Cyler, he's done a bunch of HBO shows and HBO movies and stuff like that. And I guess Max.
Power Morphicon.
Right? Dacker Montgomery, he was on Stranger Things. He was also on Elvis. He was in Elvis, and I think he's going to have a starring role. He's going to be the lead in a film coming up here soon.
I almost got to meet Darcy at one point.
His name is Darcy? I thought it was Dacre. Oh, my bad.
I think it's Darcy. But I almost had a chance to meet him at one point because 10 years ago I studied film and TV. And I believe there was like a network connecting at a bar that they were having. And I didn't go. But apparently like he was there that one night. Dang. Just mingling. Yeah.
That would have been insane. You could have met a Jason that wasn't in everybody's mouths at one moment. And then we got Mommy. Everybody knows Mommy here on the Legacy of Nerd. We got Becky G. She is probably the most famous out of all of them. She has like, I don't know, like 100 million followers on Instagram. She is a Latin pop star. She just played here in San Antonio, but I got sick that week, so I couldn't go. I found out there's a way for me to get press next time she comes. And she always comes through San Antonio because we're huge Latino community. So hopefully she'll come back through. Yeah, Mommy. Obviously, got to have some obviously great pictures of Becky G on this channel. So this brings us to our last topic is like, what could a movie look like? And I think this is what we're planning to spend the most time on. And I actually haven't watched, I think you uploaded a video like, 20 minutes before we went on, but not to spoil anything. What do you think a Power Rangers movie should look like?
Ooh, what do I think it should look like? Well, hopefully it looks good. A good ride. It's so hard to say how the suit designs will come out because you've got the Toku J artwork here, which looks amazing.
Right.
I would love it if the artwork or the suits came out like this.
Let's go to a more basic question. Do you think it should be Mighty Morphin?
I can't say no, but despite how many times I say no, it's going to be Mighty Morphin based because that's the season that has the nostalgia, that has the pull. That's what everyone remembers. So no doubt about it.
Okay. Now, would you go bio armor again, or would you go something more practical, like these suits, or something, or maybe more just like armor?
I feel like an in between, like maybe have the Iron Man armor. That is bio armor, but something sort of like Iron Man's armor in like Endgame or something like that. But
Okay.
I guess it's
Like
bio
sleeker.
armor. Yeah, sleeker. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. The Fast and Furious and Guardians of 2. The 2017 movie was released around the same time of Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
That tracks.
And
It's
Logan.
funny how long ago
Logan
that was
game.
now.
Yeah.
Sounds like I need to catch up on the comics. The cast was fire. The writing was shit. The writing wasn't that bad. Actually, the writing wasn't bad at all. But I think the big issue with the writing was that it was dependent on there being a second movie, and there was never a second movie.
No, and it did set up for a second movie.
And it's having the issue right now that Power Rangers Prime is having. There's no Power Rangers, and there was no Power Rangers in the first hour and a half of that movie, and there's no Power Rangers in issue 1 or 2. That's hideous. At least the Goldar were used to lovable and creepy. I although like lovable Goldar is funny, I loved Goldar when he was a menace. Like when he was an issue.
No, absolutely.
Like when he used to get big and like almost hand it to them. Like, yeah. Do you guys think it was a good idea for Hasbro to hand over the Power Rangers brand to Paramount Plus? Yes. But they're not handing over the brand. So I want to be clear. Like what we're hearing the deal may be is that Paramount is going to own the media rights. Or not own I take that right. They're going to be licensed the media rights. So basically Hasbro is going to sell them the right to be able to make movies and TV shows.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen. So I don't think Hasbro will ever sell Power Rangers. There's no upside to them selling Power Rangers. They overbought it, and they overpaid for it, and it hasn't gotten back its returns. And they can make money by just licensing it out to, like we're seeing like that with Super 7. We're seeing Playmates, like all these different deals. What Hasbro wants to become is an IP library. They want to own IPs and then sell the right to use those IPs to other people while they invest all their money, and then they just give them a percentage of the profits. So they literally have to do nothing. Yeah. That's what they want to do. It's like, I don't even know, like maybe it's like a landlord that owns a bunch of rental houses. That's the best way to put it. Do you hold on, bio armor like Guyver? I would love to see a Guyver reboot or like a live action. Like, yes, I loved Guyver. Did you ever watch Guyver?
I watched the anime a while ago because someone recommended it to me, but I've not seen like the live action Guyver.
They're interesting watches. They're fun watches though.
Yeah.
I still like watching the clips of the 95 movie and I'm from Sydney where it's shot. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Time for a double whammy. You ooze, you lose. Can we just get an extended turbo movie cut? Apparently it exists. Like Kat and Nakia talk about it everywhere they go. So I think I've heard the extended movie cut stories like 17 times already. It's somewhere out there.
It's in a vault somewhere.
Yeah. Smile 2 was pretty good. I saw most of Smile 2. We need to finish it. A lot of people know I can only watch movies like at an hour at a time because it's either during nap time or it's like at the end of the night and we're like done and we can only commit a little bit of time to a movie. So we still need to finish it.
Oh no, I'm like that. I tried watching Squid Game season 2. I watched the first episode. It's like a 60-minute episode, and it felt like it went longer than that. Plus, I'm trying to read the subtitles on a big screen, and because it's not like when you watch Sentai or like Kamen Rider, where talking, fighting for a little bit.
Right.
Just like I have to pay like big attention to the dialogue in Squid Games. But not only that, like pay attention to these like Korean names that are hard to keep track of. Yeah.
It's fun. So I haven't watched a Sentai since I watched Kaku Ranger. But so I haven't seen any like Boom Boom Ranger or Dawn Brothers or all this other stuff. I'm gonna try to watch Gojuja. I'm gonna try it. It's gonna happen. I did watch a little bit of Gokaiger, but that's because I had to do a panel with Ryoto Ozawa. So I wanted to at least like be on stage with him and say that I've seen a little bit that he's done. So I did do a little bit of it, but I'm gonna commit some time to this year to watching Sentai. We'll see how long it goes. Hopefully, it works out. I've only done one video so far. I think you've been covering it pretty deep,
Yeah.
though. Honestly, I would love to see armored Power Rangers shoes. I would too. Now, I think I know you said you like Iron Man, but I don't know if I would want Iron Man. I think I would want. I think the Prime is a good example of things that I think that would do well. Something along those lines. Not necessarily armored, but sort of looks armored, right? Like it looks armored through its fabric. I think there's a way to do that. It depends how much budget they're going to put into it, right? So like if they're gonna, I think it's gonna be hard because you're gonna spend a lot of money on Megazord. You're gonna spend a lot of money on monsters and putties and whatever the little foot soldier is going to be. So the suits, I think, are where it's going to suffer a little bit because you also have the Morphe sequences they have to do the Morphe sequences. That's one thing they need to learn from the 2017
Absolutely.
to sell those more for toys and not make them look like weird rocks. So I think how would I go? I think Tokuji is a good example. I think there was another one. I think it was what's that other one? Zordy Art. Zordy Art does some good ones.
They're AI, but yeah.
They're AI, but like I know, guys, I'm not gonna like go big into the AI thing, but AI is being used. You can't help it.
No, I'm not 100% against AI. Like I use AI for Photoshop because like I can't crop around stuff. So AI can do it for me and I just fix up whatever it overcropped.
I don't use AI because I refuse to pay for stuff. Actually, I just paid for the first time ever for a photo editor that cost $35 for a year subscription that I refused to pay for the last 3 years I've had this channel. And then I was like, I'm tired of like taking out their watermark and all this other stuff. So I just bought because I'm that cheap.
No, I've known people who have who don't want to pay for Adobe or Sony Vegas. I'm cool with Geekdom 101, and he's got an editor, but when there's stuff that he has to do himself, he's used like a free video editing software.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think here's a good example, although it's not Mighty Morphin, of kind of like how you could do a little bit of armor. Like so, like there's like we have the Ashley chest piece right here. I think that's cool. Although I think that's like a fan version of it. Although this is a custom, but like here's another way that you could do it. It kind of intricates a little bit the armor. You see, got the arms right here. Obviously, this is the dragon shield. But there's ways like around making it too Iron Man-y, but at the same time, but still like Power Rangers-y, I think is the best way to put it. He has some really cool ones over here with the Phantom Ranger, the Turbo Ranger ones. I think he takes them down from time to time. I'm trying to think of someone else that does Power Rangers. Oh, like he did these ones at one point. Here we go. So you kind of get some ideas right here. Although I don't know if I like this whole like tubing thing. I think the Pink Ranger is kind of a good one. The Trini one here is good too. Let's see. These helmets are spot on. I love these helmets, especially the Black Ranger one here with the coin. I think that one looks really good. Let's see. Oh, we got Sky. Okay. But like, I think there's ways to go around it without having to commit to like so much armor, but at the same time, kind of like honoring the spandexy of the brand, at the same time. So looking at some of the comments here, MMPR reboot, please. And it's more than likely going to be that. I think, how's it even for a debate? Of course it's MMPR. How about armor that Tony gave Spider-Man? Like the Iron Spider? Yeah.
That is sleek looking, like when you have the big spider arms coming out.
Right. And it's chromy and it's shiny. I love shiny. You can't, anything that's shiny, I'll buy. Gen Zs in the fandom who aren't sentimentally attached to the understanding hierarchy when other seasons has gotten ridiculous. I don't think it's gotten ridiculous. I think people just want to see different things. But the thing with Gen Z is that Gen Z grew up on a different era. So, but the problem with Gen Z Power Ranger fans is there's not a lot of them. So compared to what, like, the millennials, like me. So my only word is an over reliance on MMPR. Could we possibly move past MMPR and still make sense? That's a good question. What do you think about that, Taxi?
I think you can probably do move past MMPR. Like you can probably say like there's an established team that came before you guys, and I think that's what some of the leaks and rumors or alleged leaks and rumors were saying, that like MMPR would have been an established universe where they came after it.
Right. I think there's like MMPR. I think is always going to be the focus, but like there's an opportunity here to like bring in like Time Force or SPD, like a message from the future or something. You know what I mean? Which they were trying to do. Remember that very first iteration in the movie that was going to be like a current team was going to go back to the past to try to help the Mighty Morphin team.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
like I can see a situation like that, and I think who's doing Unworthy is doing like a version of that with the white SPD Ranger. I forget the name that he calls it, but you know what I'm talking about, right? Quantum.
Yeah.
It's like a Quantum Ranger, but it's White Ranger.
No, Omega Ranger SPD. Parent Shattered Past, I think it is, from Nerdbot, I think.
No, what? I thought it was Unworthy. I thought it was Unworthy.
I know it's the joint universe they've got.
Right. It's they all connect.
Yeah, it's what Colin's doing.
It's Unworthy, I'm pretty
Colin
sure.
stuff, yeah.
Maybe it was Colin stuff. Now, do you think it would be a possibility for Paramount Plus to do a Power Rangers movie with Lord Zed play in robot form like we've seen Raider Repulsa? Oh, like Robo Rita?
Nah, you're gonna make Zed fleshy and scary.
Yeah. Back to scary. The movie should start with the OG 5 already being Rangers and dealing with the evil Green Ranger. Second movie could do White Ranger, third Zeo. So I could do a movie. I think if they were to do something like a pre-established, and I know you saw the beginning of Batman v Superman, but you know how they spent the first 5 minutes showing their Batman's version of how he became Batman with like the crime alley and stuff like that, and do a 5-minute version of like, Zordon making them Rangers and then them doing their first battle, and then just cut and just say it like 2 years later. Like I think that could be a way to do it. I don't know. What are you thinking about? How would you start a Power Rangers movie?
I feel like that could work. Like you can maybe do like a quick flash cut of like them getting their powers and then like defeating Rita, like Doomsday or something like that. But then again, like a lot of us know how the Power Rangers started. Like, do we need to do like Crime Alley again for Power Rangers? Or
we've done it 30 times, like literally,
and because it's a pretty like formula that everyone knows where they get their powers, they fight and save the day. I feel like you don't need to establish like them getting their powers and morphing for the first time.
Right. I think you're right. I think that would be that might be smart. That might be a smart way to do it. We shouldn't be giving them all our answers right now. Black Panther in the style of suits they should aim. Oh, you know how he does with the vibranium and the That's an idea. That's a really good idea. I like that actually, because he could still remove the helmet and everything too, like he did in the movie. They're onto something here. I like that. I only take opinions from Gen 1 fans. No, everyone's opinions matter. Just some more than others, like me and Deoxys. Never mind, just joking. No, I'm not. They should do a reboot, but not another NPR. The name Power Rangers will be enough, in my opinion. Just do with a completely new team. I think that Power Rangers Prime is an example of how you could do that.
Yeah.
You gotta morph quicker. You gotta morph in the first 20 minutes and get going. Like I think that was the issue with the first movie. And not be Mighty Morphin, but it sort of looks like it. Like I think you could do that, but it's gotta sort of look like it. I think that's how you sell. Now you get this to evolve, right? Like you get the first movie successful, you support it, you buy the toys, you show that you like this movie. You get a second movie, right? Like that's the thing. And that's how Power Rangers influencers have been trying to help the brand, right? We've been trying to push it forward is like we support the brand even when we don't like it. You know what I mean? But say I'm covering Power Rangers Prime, even though right now I don't necessarily like it, but I'm telling you about it, but I'm putting it out the media and it helps support the brand. It's worth to see on your feed. So there's that you want more, you support the brand. I think that's the best way to put it. I'm being cautiously optimistic, would prefer the TV show continue to adapt Super Sentai, but I'm biased. Okay, this is a big topic. What What do you think about them on Super Sentai?
Geez, I'm gonna feel like Simon Bet when he said it. I feel like we like one for one Sentai adaptations aren't always needed. I feel like they can do what maybe Cosmic Fury did. Just you can adapt like the Zord footage or something like that. Like I know people want to see the suits fine, but when people say adapt the Sentai, do they mean adapt it one for one like Samurai? Do they want to see the suits brought to the US or the Zords? Like it's kind of like not a hard thing to work around, but like what counts as a good adaptation for people? Because I know that if people want to see their favorite like Super Sentai season adapted, then those same people complain that they didn't adapt it the way they wanted it because it's very different.
Right.
So
I think a lot of the issue too is cultural issues. So like, as Power Rangers is really meant for an American audience, right? So that is its primary base. And I know we all watch it around the world, but its primary audience and its primary source of income and profit is from the United States. So there's a lot of Japanese humor and other things that there's done in Super Sentai that doesn't always translate to America very well. Good example is Kiba Ranger and Die Ranger. That it's complete perv. Like, and there you could have never done that in a TV show here in the States at that, especially in the 90s. Like, not like no. So there's other things like that.
Cultural things like Samurai or even like what was I think? Like even like the Thunderzords where they're based on Chinese mythology.
Right.
Or even not ignoring like the Japanese roots or something like that with Ninja Steel, where they're just like American ninjas, where Ninja leans heavily on Japanese mythology and that culture.
So it's hard adapting the stories from Super Sentai to America right off the bat. Then you get to like some of the suits and some of the things that are popular right now in Japan would never be popular in the United States.
No.
Like what's the Dawn Brothers? Like no. That would never work. I think Kira Major would barely work. Like or was it Kira Major? Yeah. The one with the gems. That would barely work. I think although I do think like King Oger, that look what may have worked here. I do think I can't Gojuger might work here, but there's a lot like
Boonja maybe because that's just cars.
Which one?
Boonja, the one with the helmet tire heads.
Man, those look so weird though.
That's the thing, like not everyone's on board with those suits. Like there was a huge divide amongst the fandom when these were first leaked and revealed and stuff like that.
Right.
It's the basic concept is cars, which is very American or very not American. Cars translates to most places around the world, so that's a somewhat easy thing to adapt. But then again,
they skipped what is the train one that they skipped here?
Tokuja.
Yeah, they obviously they're putting the train in some suggestible positions and the Megazord, but besides that, right?
Just
like
that one clip.
just that, but that's all I remember from that season. Like I never watched it. I just know that one scene happened. But yeah, like different things aren't like trains are super popular in Japan, right?
Yeah. I was going to get to that as well.
Not here. They're not.
There's a culture around it in Japan.
Now here's the second issue. Hasbro does not want to rely on another company to make their brand successful. Like they don't want to rely on Toei, on Super Sentai, or any of that, or anyone else for something that they paid for to do themselves. So I think that's the issue with why they wanted to end the original show, because it was supposed to end sooner, right? It was supposed to end after Dino Fury. It was supposed to end. Cosmic Fury was an accident. So
we
can talk about that another day. But in any event, they want to stop relying on another company on how to use something that they own, and they don't want to do that. And from a business point, I understand that. The thing is, you're going to have to be the first one to figure it out because no one's done it before, and that's the issue. Someone banished someone to the dark dimension. Not sure why. Bon Bernardo. Oh yeah, he does a lot of amazing. He does like comic art now. Yeah,
he does the comic covers. He does the variants.
Yeah, he does amazing stuff. Here's hoping we have something solid happening with the franchise before Power Morphicon 2026. That would be amazing. Apparently, there's some Morphicon Express happening somewhere. I've heard rumors of where it might be, but I can't say it out loud. So there you go. Okay. If we go with NPR storyline, how many films do you want to tell that story?
7, like Savannah originally wanted.
2.5. 2.5.
Yeah, 2 is fine.
2.5 and a half. That movie they upgrade to the new one. I think.
But if it makes some money, it'll be like the Sonic movies. We've already got a 4th one announced, like a week after it dropped.
Did you see Sonic 3 though?
I saw it. Like, it came out early in Australia where there was an advanced screening. I saw it, and I loved it. Yeah,
it's so good.
Loved it.
It's funny because me and my wife, that's one of the movies that we go make sure to see in theaters because we've seen. We just enjoy them. We used to play them on Sega like all the time. So that's one of the things we actually stop and like we got the babysitter and everything. We're like, we're gonna go see Sonic 3 in theaters. And I loved every second of it. It was amazing.
Oh no, I loved it.
Saying hi to Fan Club. Is RPM the most popular series after NPR? I thought I heard something like that. I think Dino Charges.
I think it's whatever season is you prefer was the popular season.
I mean, honestly, but are we talking? Is it fan critically acclaimed or is it made the most money? Because made the most money is Super Mega Force. Super Mega Force after NPR. Because Melissa will love to tell you how much money they made on Super Mega Force. So yeah, I think I don't know. Dino Fury season 2 was really good. RPM was good, but Dino Fury season 2 like upped it. I think I have to say. There was effort put in that.
I was going to make a joke saying that RPM almost ran out of money while filming. So that's when Bandai was like, because if I remember correctly, like Disney had to like borrow money off Bandai, or Bandai had to fund the rest of like RPM.
I didn't know that. That's interesting. That makes sense though, and it was a lot of non-state stuff. Sounds right.
But also if you've heard about RPM, like they let go one of the executive producers halfway through the show, and they brought back Judlin Chip, and then there was a lot of unused storylines that went on board. But yeah,
that's crazy. And then we got Beast Morphers to finish it off, which wasn't bad. The season 2 was not bad too. I can see where they're going through the growing pains of like Hasbro going on their own though. What if we built the universe by using unadapted Sentai teams as lost powers around the galaxy like Go Ranger? I see like go Spider-Verse on it. If you're gonna bring in a bunch of different stuff, go Spider-Verse and just say like we got Power Rangers all over. Like they were kind of alluding to that in the 2017 movie. Like there was teams all around the universe. But if you want to do something like that, build up to it and then go multiverse or like we know there's other teams around the galaxy. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, when they say adapt, do they mean use like footage from Sentai, which is like 30 years old, which is grainy and old? Or do they just mean use the suits? Which using the suits, they can still use them. Like Toei has like those suits in storage that they use for certain things, so they could do that. And then
we can get really nice auction buyers to donate their suits.
Yeah,
like everyone says they should.
Yeah. Did you get anything from the auction?
No. So I actually went in to like, you have to do that pre-authorization thing. And
I looked, but I didn't touch.
So you had to go in the pre-authorization thing and you had to put in a credit card. And when I had signed up for my account, using the Legacy of Nerd PO box. And so my credit card didn't match my PO box, and it said the only way you could fix it is to call them. And I was like, that's my cue not to buy anything. So I was like, that's not going to work. Chrono Ranger, thank you so much. From Unworthy. That's right. Okay. The white Quantum Ranger that we were talking about.
Oh, okay.
If we reboot MPR, then we get the White Ranger. We also get the Die Ranger suits as power-ups for the Dino Rangers. I don't know.
I like the Die Ranger suits, but I don't know.
I don't know if they translate well. I think that's why they didn't. Well, there's different reasons they didn't use it.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stories.
Ninja Storm and Naruto crossover would be cool. Hey, they just did a TMNT and Naruto crossover, so why not?
It's actually pretty good.
I haven't read it. It is. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Omega Ranger Sam O'Neill is Shattered Pass from Nerdbot. There you go. Follow the Boom Studios run if people want an evil Ranger and film adapt Lord Drakkon. Oh my god, the Lord Drakkon thing.
I don't think you could do it today.
I don't know.
Because they were meant to do, like, according to Kyle and JDF, they were meant to do there was plans and talks of a coinless, like, spin-off.
Right.
And then when the
shut it down.
Yeah, Hasbro Saban shut it down because that's when the buyout happened and it got swept under all the rug.
So, okay, I guess I'll talk about this as one of those stories. If
you don't think you should talk then that's okay.
I think someone else has said it before. So, what I was told was that, and it has a lot to do, like, we heard the story, like, JDF would say, like, hey, Haim, help me with this. He's like, absolutely. Will you do Forever Red for me? Okay. And then nothing. And then he'd be like, hey, Haim, could you help me with this? And he's like, oh, could you promote Legacy Wars for me? Oh, okay. Or do Ninja Steel for me? So that was one of the things that he did. The Ninja Steel was supposed to be his payment for doing the coinless. Like, there's a lot of talk about the Ninja Steel and the Legacy Wars stuff. Like, he did that as a favor because Saban was saying, like, yes, we'll do what you want to do. And one of those was the Bat in the Sun project. One of them was the coinless Lord Drakkon stuff. Like, there was different things that JDF was pitching to him, not just with Aaron, but like just JDF in general, right? And so that was one of the things that Saban said, yeah, we're gonna do that. And then Saban like literally went like 2 or 3 months later and like announced like he was.
I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah,
exactly. So like that's a lot of what was like behind the scenes as far as like why JDF was so hurt by the time he got to towards the end of his life, and especially there's some stuff that happened with Hasbro too, where
no, if you listen to that I think the interview with Kentucky Jam, where the Master Morpher was like, you can hear JDF's frustration with Hasbro, where they wanted to do a White Ranger morph, and he was like, nah, screw that, let's do the Master Morpher.
Right. I mean, you could tell like his tone, like how he felt about Hasbro in general. And there were some live streams, if you caught, they might still be up on his accounts, but like, before he passed away, where people would ask him about him, like, he would always say like, I'm focused on Legend of the White Dragon, but like when people would specifically ask about him going back or something like that, like you could tell like his tone would change.
Yeah. He'd say to me, he's dead.
Rest in peace, Tommy Oliver. He used to say that. Exposition is hated on. We already know how it started. We don't need to see Uncle Ben die again. I agree. I think there's a way to do it really quickly. First 10 minutes of the setup of the movie be similar to Batman v Superman. I agree. I think there's a way. I think that's a good idea. We might just giving them an idea, and they're probably watching us because weird stuff always happens after I could do stuff like this. Might get a Power Rangers in space crossover with Star Trek. Why not?
Who does the Star Trek comics? Is it Boom or is it someone else?
I thought it was that Skybound.
Who do the Transformers ones?
I think it is. I gotta look it up.
There's been promotional artwork of like Transformers and G.I. Joe and stuff like that promoting their card game, their RPG.
Well, IDW is coming up first, like immediately. I don't know if that's who has it right now. That's a good question. But as far as comic books, IDW does have a relationship with Boom because they did the Godzilla stuff. So that's not that. I mean, it could happen, and I can kind of see how it would cross over a little bit. It depends. It would have to be a future team, or like Power Rangers go to the future, or Mind Warfare goes to the future, or something like that.
Yeah, and IDW did the Ninja Turtles comics as well, which is doing their own reboot.
Okay. New NPR movie idea. Other Rangers kids join the team, like Min, JJ becomes green, son of Jason becomes red, etc.
Like, I get the next Avengers stuff that they could set up, like Young Avengers for Power Rangers, but I don't know.
I don't think you would want to rely like what the boom is doing right now with Prime. You don't want to rely on past lore and past knowledge to start off a new franchise.
Yeah.
I don't think business wise that would make sense. Power Rangers 2017 suffered from too much exposition and not enough actual Power Rangers. Power Rangering. Goldar, yeah, exactly, man. That's that. I think we agree with you. Black Panther suits in Civil War is a perfect Power Ranger suit. I would say Black Panther suit and Black Panther would work a little bit better as far as like the morphing sequence. I think with the vibranium, was it like liquid vibranium or whatever? Like the nano vibranium was what it was.
Yeah.
I bought all the 2017 toys before the movie even came out and took friends who didn't know anything about the franchise to see it in theaters. I did all I could, dude. Then yeah, you're Power Rangers Jesus. Then you did everything. Yeah. Omega Rangers live action series. Oh,
I don't think they could.
Yeah,
there's no twee. No one wants to go near Austin St. John, and Walter's doing whatever Walter does.
He's Waltering.
Yeah, Walter's Waltering.
2017 was a good start. Yeah, but that's all it was a start. Religious Sentai. No, never go towards religion, and that's why Ghost Sager didn't do that in the American version.
Yeah, that's why they didn't adapt it. I think that's what they were getting at.
Yeah, Kinojo would make for an awesome Power Ranger season. Is Kinojo good? Have you seen Kinojo?
Yeah, Kinojo is pretty good. It's different with how it's filmed. They use like the Mandalorian screen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they use a lot of CGI backgrounds, which does look weird in some places, but Kinojo does tell a really good serialized story, and it's definitely worth checking out.
And they brought back Dino Charge or the Sentai for that.
Yeah,
right?
because it was their 10-year anniversary.
What is Dino Charge in Sentai? Oh my god, that's gonna bother the crap out of me.
When is their next anniversary?
No, what is the name of it?
Oh, Dino Charge, Kyoryuja. Kyoryuja.
That's it. Yeah. That's it. Yeah, I like the little dance they do when they morph. I think it's cute. That was my biggest turn off with Samurai. As someone who was into anime, I could follow Samurai. Not sure if I could have if I didn't have that base. Okay. Power Ranger seasons build off of military. Ooh, okay. I don't know if you start off there though.
Yeah.
Oh man, I could see how you go there though. Like, I think the connection with Power Rangers at first is what first made it big was that like it was almost like anyone could be a Power Ranger, right? And I don't know if you would. While military aspect, I think would fit well with some part of it. I don't know if you start there. What do you think?
That might be something they could possibly do, but then again, they're kind of doing in the comics with the VR troopers because they are Peace Corps defenders with Elta.
Right.
But I don't know. It depends like what the military theming is. Is it sort of like old school Sentai, something like that? Or is it like full on like military army? I don't know.
I think you could have a police force.
Yeah, it's a shame that Simon came out and said that wouldn't happen.
But like that wouldn't be your main team.
No.
Right. Like so they would be like this team that exists that shouldn't exist, but there's a police force around. I think there's a way to do that, but I don't think that could be your main team at first, at least at first.
Yeah, I think they could do Blue Pat if they handled it correctly.
Right. As much as I would love that to happen, they couldn't afford them anymore. That's just the reality of it. They could not afford the 2017 cast. They're
too expensive now.
Too expensive.
They've gone up in price.
I would have to say so. So. I love Sonic 3. Yeah, it was good. We're behind on the comments. The Sonic movies were great. I need to see 3 yet. I'll wait for streaming. I really recommend seeing it in theaters. I thought it's a cinematic experience, especially during the climax. I think it's something to experience in theaters. So it's something to think of. Maybe when it hits the dollar theater, if you have one in your area, that's an idea. RPM low key peak Power Rangers. I think it's a good example of people trying. I think that's what it is. I don't know if it's peak. What would you say?
RPM. I wouldn't call it like peak,
Right.
but it's a season with good writing and good characters.
Right. I think it's effort, and there's seasons where there's no effort. So,
Mhm.
yes, Bandai helped funded RPM. Okay, so you were right. Probably the only way who didn't like RPM. That's okay. I mean, there's people that have very different opinions on different seasons. Who'd you fan cast the movie? The perfect young Tommy, aged out even by Hollywood standards. Okay, we're gonna start. Here, we'll get out of this one because I threw this up today and people seem to enjoy the thought of it. I don't know if I can get it up.
The Cobra Kai guy.
Not the Cobra Kai guy, but I threw this one up with Reina Valentine. She's an actual 13-time Taekwondo world champion, and she is now an actress on Cobra Kai. And so I saw people like quickly putting this up after we broke the news last night. And let's see how many likes it. Oh, it's got 800 likes so far,
Nice.
so not too bad. But I guess. Is there any actors or actresses you immediately think like we can talk about the Cobra Kai thing now, but like what do you we'll start with my first question. Do you see anybody like are you fan casting anybody for Power Rangers movie?
Not really. Like I don't like think of actors like, oh, that person can play that one, that person can play that person. I think I'm so like I don't want to say I'm so like I don't want to say gaslit, but because everyone keeps saying that guy who plays Robbie in Cobra Kai,
Right.
Would make a good Tommy. I feel like I was like, yeah, I can see it, because I think at the start of the season he had like long hair, and I think that's what everyone was drawn to. Like the long hair would make him a perfect Tommy.
I think he looks really good. I think he's a little short. He has the skill. He's an actual martial artist, so that helps, right? He doesn't seem to want to like anytime someone brings up Power Rangers with him in an interview, I notice he kind of like makes a face. And maybe I'm just like overseeing things with him, you know what I mean? But he does wear green a lot, and I feel like he's just trolling sometimes. I think he could still work. I don't think you necessarily need to cast like I don't think your starting team needs to be 5 teenagers with attitude. It could be 5 people with attitude. Like honestly, and they brought this up in the comments. And I really love that Melissa did this as well. Was like, why is Zordon using child soldiers? And why would we watch a team with that also? You know what I mean? Like they bring that up in No Way Home Homecoming with Spider-Man and Civil War.
Yeah.
Like, why are we using this child? This is like very, very unethical, right? And I would think it is too. So I don't think you necessarily need to have kids in high school to do this. You could have kids in their early 20s and be adults, right? Like 18, 19, just do it right there. You know, early college or whatever. And so I don't think you need to do that. So if you did that, you aged it up, you can automatically do like Robbie Keane. And I think that's fine.
Yeah.
I honestly think had he not got cast in Blue Beetle, that Xolo Mariduena would have been amazing in Power Rangers. And I think he would have enjoyed doing it also, right? We've even seen he is happy about his Cobra Kai Lightning collection figure. He has it proudly displayed in his room. Like he
really
loves the association. Yeah, he does.
Nice.
So I think he has that podcast too. He showed it off on a podcast once or twice. Like he's proud of it. So I think he would have been good, but he has DC now. Blue Beetle is supposed to be part of James Gunn's DC. So
okay.
I don't think he needs it. He would have been really good. That girl that plays LaRusso's daughter, I can't remember think of her name, but she's like 33 years old, like in real life. Yeah, she's like old, man. So she's almost as old as me. Nah, I don't think she's as old as me, but she's like early 30s now, I think. So I think she's too old to go down that route. Now, Peyton List is an idea. She seems to be going more the dramatic route now. Well, she has like a Netflix show that she's doing as well, where she plays like a ghost. I don't think she would want to do anything. Well, I mean, I wouldn't say that, but I see her going more like, I don't want to say like Sydney Sweeney stuff, but like because everybody like over sexualizes Sydney Sweeney, but kind of like that career trajectory, like being because she was a child actress, right? So being taken more serious and doing more kind of like daring stuff, I can see that happening for her. Now the guy that plays Hawk, I can totally see him doing Power Rangers.
Oh yeah. No, yeah, absolutely.
I can see him doing it. The guy that plays Dimitri, probably not. I don't see him doing it. Kenny, the guy that plays Kenny, I could see him doing it. I could see him doing it as well. And that's probably it for Cobra Kai. As far as other young actors out there, I'm not in tune with like the super young ones. So you would have to suggest it in the chat if you guys have any ideas. Well, hopefully we'll get to it eventually. We got a super chat. Hold on. I just took down answer 06. Is my bad. I have it right here. Maybe they should pick the cast from the martial arts tournament circuit. So, okay. I wish I could go back to that. How do I get back to that? Okay, put that up. So that's kind of like here with Reina, right? So that's kind of the idea. Would you cast new actors? No. So here's the issue that we talked about from like the Mighty Morphin '95 movie, right? Is like the skill of acting wasn't really there, right? Mm-hmm. When you go to the 2017 movie, the skill is there, but the Power Rangers aren't there. What would you try to find would you try to find real martial artists, or would you try to find good actors? What would you focus on?
Good actors, because if they have to learn martial arts, they'll get the training that's needed.
Right. Right. I agree. I have to agree with that. Although it's a good idea, in theory. Oh, I don't know. Like they found, I don't know. Like Reina, I think is one of those like exceptions, right? Because we saw her in Cobra Kai and she did really well. Mm-hmm. And I think she showed her range as an actress. Although she was starting out, like I think she showed herself well. But she may be the exception, right? So I do think you're right. I think we need to focus on acting and then go from there. I mean, like they taught Keanu Reeves Kung Fu. So there's ways to go about it. But I would say if they're restarting a live action show, then that's something maybe we could do something with. What would you think? Like, what do you think about that, actually?
If they ask restarting the show, does that mean they have to go back to the Power Rangers Karate Academy with Lightspeed Blue, or
is he the one that runs it? He runs the boot camp?
I've heard he does.
I've heard so Charlie Kirsch told me like she went to him for training for a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. And then I've heard other people, I guess like he said recently that the Jaden Smith went to him for training. Mm-hmm. So is he like the Hollywood karate, or martial arts training person now, or what's? I feel like I didn't hear about it until recently.
Well, because I feel like I've heard his name get brought up several times when it comes to like Power Rangers boot camp.
Okay, I want someone in the chat knows a little bit more about that, because I don't know a lot about that. And Charlie was telling me about it, and I was like, I had no idea this was going on. So I was like, okay. Paramount should bring in David Yost's story of Quantum Continuum. I haven't finished reading it. There's some good points at Quantum Continuum. I enjoy the first 2 episodes. I think it's too problematic now. But I mean, he says that David Yost, he has a version with JDF not in it. But I don't think you'll get Austin in the room with any of those people.
Nope.
Any of those people in the room with Austin. So Georger would have made an interesting Power Ranger season if it got adapted. I personally like the suits. Which one's Georger?
That's the animal themed one with the eagle.
The red had the yellow beak.
Yeah.
And they kind of look like they're wearing t-shirts.
Yes, yeah.
Actually, I did like that visually a little bit. Yeah.
So it's like the single spandex with like the animal printed on them.
But they were cubes, right? The Zords were cubes.
Yeah, the Minecraft one as well.
I think that was probably the issue. Honestly, I would like to see them do something with the Psycho Rangers. I love this already. I'm not going to finish it. I'm not going to finish it because I want to ruin it. What? Psycho Rangers would be an amazing villain for the first movie. Like an evil team fighting. I don't know. What do you think? Do you need a traditional Rita at the beginning, or would you like Psycho come in and just mess things up?
No, I would love to see the Psycho Rangers.
That would be good. It's more toys to sell.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be endgame type movie. Maybe. I don't know. I say like start off with that. I don't know. What do you? Because like our idea is like they start in with 5 minutes of exposition, right, and then cut 2 years later or something like that, right? That could work. I love that. This person's smart. Answer 6 says yes. Mike Chad is the trainer for Power Rangers Boot Camp. I did not know that. Okay, so he's the one that they all hate, that they all tell me about. Is he quick question answer. You don't have to do super chat, but is he based in New Zealand? Does he like go over there with them? I'm just curious. Or did he go over there with that? Kat, would you watch that in the back room?
I'm not sure if he goes over there. I think he is LA based, possibly.
Right.
I don't know. I just hear Power Rangers Boot Camp. I can't remember where it's brought up, but I'm guessing it's LA based.
Well, they call it Hell Week. Yeah. Well, that's what they call it. It's something else. But Power Rangers Hexagon is an animated series.
I don't know. Power Rangers Hexagon is something that's been around in the fandom for 20 plus years.
Yeah.
It sounded like a cool idea at the time, but now with 30 years of Power Rangers, it's kind of drifted apart.
So he's in California. So they go to California first for boot camp, and then they go to New Zealand. Okay. That must have sucked for Izzy, though.
Lots of them.
Yeah, I was like, some of them are in New Zealand, though. A military-based Power Rangers team where the military asks them to do something they don't agree with, so the team takes the equipment and goes rogue. The 6 Rangers sides the military. Dude, I feel like I'm reading the plot to Armageddon with Bruce Willis and Ben Affleck. As Gen Z born 2004, so I grew up with Samurai Megaforce. I believe that when Paramount does a reboot from my generation, used NPR wouldn't work in their favor. I suggest new suits, new stories. And I can see that, and I can see why you would feel like that.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Yeah. Get the Fast and Furious crew. Just kidding. I mean, they've made 10 freaking movies. Might as well just, I don't know. Low-key, Fast and Furious would do Power Rangers perfectly. It's all about family, guys. Sadie Sink as a Power Ranger would be really cool. So that's interesting, too. Especially because they've been talking about her as being Jean Grey. That is one of the things that are out there right now. So I don't know. It's an idea, though. Samantha LaRusso is 28 years old. Yeah, she's about to go.
That isn't too old. I mean, Russell Curry, who played Zato, he was in his 30s when he got casted.
Who was?
Russell Curry, who's Zato in Dino Fury.
That's true.
He's 33.
He looks young.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
She doesn't anymore. Like she looks like a mom. Not trying to be mean or anything, but she looks older. Maybe they should pick the cast. Oh, we're just with that. Sorry about that. Lupin Ranger, a stealth Air Force team. Add 2 Black, Green, and Pacha Ranger. Landa. So I actually know what you're talking about. Surprisingly, I don't think it would work for a first movie, but it's creative for sure. Yeah, Mary Mouser. I was thinking Mouse for some reason, so that makes sense. That's why I suggested Reina. She's 13 times world champ. Yeah, I think she's a good fit, and for some reason, my viewer count has gone up since she's been on there. I think Sadie Sink make a good Power Ranger. I think she would too. I just think if she's up for Jean Grey, she's gonna go for Jean Grey. I think that's tough.
No, I feel like if she's gonna go for the MCU
and X-Men at that, yeah,
X-Men, yeah.
Real martial artists, then you don't have to rely on the stunt team. I think they would still use them though.
Yeah,
you're right. Like they wouldn't have to rely on them so much, but they would be. Like if they're gonna go this next franchise, they're gonna tie these guys into like 10 movies. So I would. It's insurance issues, but I get where you're coming from for sure. Regardless, they need a stunt team, safety reasons, insurance. Yeah. Oh, he just said that right there. Millie Bobby Brown as a Ranger would be really cool too. Man, every time I put Millie Bobby Brown up for something, people just get mad at me, and I'm just like. Then it's funny because I find like these casting rumors and people think I make crap up, and I'm really not making it up. Like it's based off of something that I thought had enough trending something for me to say for me to actually put it up, right? And so but every time I put it up, people just get pissed and they're like, she can't act and her teeth aren't real or something like that.
I don't know that one.
Chad from Lightspeed Rescue was said to run. Okay. So everyone's agreeing with what you said. Regardless, I don't see her as a possible Kimberly. There are other actresses that need improvement. Okay. Power Rangers Prime figures would be awesome. I agree. They would look really good. I want Bulk and Skull and Spike figures.
You can get Bulk and Skull figures.
Yeah.
You can get Bulk and Skull figures from Super 7.
No, California. How I think this should be structured. Movie universe. Keep the OG kids show adapting Sentai and a more young adult themes animated series following the Boom comics.
Yeah.
So this is one of the conversations I had that I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about. But I'll say this. So I talked to somebody, right? And they told me, don't ever expect Boom Studios Power Rangers run to ever go in any sort of movie or live action. But seeing that Paramount is there now, how likely do you see that being a possibility now? Or do you see that not, like, you still see them like going like no boom, the no boom, the no boom rule?
Hard to say. I mean, Shattered Grid was like a big moment, celebrated 25 years of Power Rangers.
Right.
And it's one of those iconic stories that a lot of people remember. That's the modern Power Rangers story. So it is possible. And then I don't know, like they could do it, but if they said no, like the thing is with Power Rangers, there's only so many stories you can rip from. You can only tell Green with Evil so many times, whether it's animated or the origin stories of the Rangers. Like with those DC animated films, they're pulling iconic stories that they're animating or telling original stories.
Right.
If they want to tell stories that's animated that can probably flow really well, and they've got a lot of source material to work from that isn't the show, then they can probably pull from the comics.
Right. I think it's hard to avoid the comics if you're going to do Mighty Morphin. It's hard to say, like, we're not going to adapt pieces from it, right? Like, to see, like, what MCU did, right? They didn't adapt straight the stories. Like, there's no way you could adapt 70 years worth of stories in 3 movies, right? So, but they were able to get to Civil War and third Captain America movie, and they got to Infinity War and, like, what was it, 14 or 15 movies or something like that? But
they weren't direct adaptations of them. They were the concept.
I think it's hard to avoid Shattered Grid. Now, here's my issue with Shattered Grid, and it's never been like a creative issue, like, because I thought the story was amazing. Is that in the comics they got to it too quickly, right?
Yeah.
And it almost seemed like they didn't know where to go after that, as far as creative wise. Like they shot their shot too early, sort of thing.
Yep.
But at the same time, like, I understand that because it wasn't like they were dealing with Batman or the X-Men or anything like that. They weren't guaranteed to have a comic for 20 more years. So I get why they told that story when they told it. Now, but here's the issue. If you do Boom Comics, right? Like, say you do Boom Comics in the movies and you start with Boom Comics and your goal is Shattered Grid, then what the hell comes after Shattered Grid? And if you get to Shattered Grid, what do you do from there?
What do I do from there?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, would that be a good ending point?
I would think so, right? Like, just end it?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, from a business perspective, you don't end it.
That's true. Money talks.
Money talks. It's a conundrum, right? So it's like what do you? It's almost like they wrote themselves into a box somehow without meaning to, right? And because now that's something that everyone wants to see, and it's hard to avoid it, and it's hard to tell, and it's even going to come up with the movies because, like, I'm sure you see it in your comments on your videos, but I see it on YouTube, Instagram, and everywhere else. Is like people commenting on my stuff. They need to do Boom, and I'm like,
yeah,
there's issues with that, and I get it, but like, and it's also being tied to, like, it's like Boom right now. Like, they can't be tied to the lore of Mighty Morphin, and should the movies be tied to the lore of Boom?
They'd be good standalone films, like animated standalone films.
No, I mean animated. Like I feel like animated films, like your possibilities are endless. Like TMNT, Zeo animated film. Like, just do it in a film instead of, like, devoting a whole TV show to it, or like whatever. Right? Tell the RPM story, the Forever Red story. Do an animated film on that. Like, there's things that you can do, right? But I think when it comes to, like, the live action is when it's like, how do you not write yourself into a box with what Boom Studios has already done? It's really interesting. It's an interesting thing to think about is Power Rangers. Like, I don't think I've ever asked a question like that to anybody. So they should start off using Andros original members in Space Team to explain what happened to them, showing Andros traveling to Earth and pan out MPO work way up to a point. So, like, Andros is a narrator from the future. If you can do the future, do Wes or do Omega Ranger. I'm not saying it's not a bad idea or a good idea. I'm just saying, like, there's ways, I think, that use a time version of Power Rangers. The way to set it up, other teams could use Hyperforce and send them back to NPR. Hyperforce is interesting. Yeah, I can see, because it's not a very well-known team, and you could do I think you could do something with that, maybe, but as long as they're not the focus. I think it's everyone's saying the Star Trek thing keeps on happening, or it's the same person saying, I don't know. Bulk and Skull will be the hardest to recast. Yeah, I think I agree with you there. They didn't even try to last time.
No.
There was also a rumor that Paramount Global would buy the Power Rangers franchise from Hasbro. I don't think that's ever going to happen, man.
No. Yeah. No, I think what people are getting confused when they see the article is like what we mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Is that not Hasbro, Paramount will get the media rights, like the TV show and the movies, and then Hasbro is just going to outsource the toys and stuff like that to other people.
Right. I agree. Power Rangers Shattered Grid would work very well as anime series. I mean, you're not wrong. Shattered Grid should be the end, like Crisis on Infinite Earths for DC Comics, but it wasn't the end. That's the thing. Yeah. And then we had 3 more Crises after that. So we actually made it to the end of our comments. So I think we've been streaming for 2 hours now. I think we did a good job. Any last words? Anything you would like to talk about? The floor is yours, my friend.
Not that I can think of.
Would you like to promote yourself? I'm sure everybody like nobody knows who you are already, but still.
Oh yeah. This is being streamed like Twitch and Facebook, not Twitch, Facebook and Instagram. But hi, I'm Deoxy360. I talk about Power Ranger comics on the channel. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, Blue Sky, I guess, Twitter's at Deoxy360. I make Power Rangers content, talking about the comics, the TV show, and whatever news fall upon my lap.
Awesome, man. Well, this it's been like almost a year and a half in the making. We finally got to team up. I appreciate you joining us tonight, man. It has been great, and I've been trying to get him on. Like, I think I've asked you like 6 times in the last 6 months.
Yeah, I've been working mostly working because I work 5 days a week.
Right, and then obviously we're just opposite time. So he's what time is it there now? Out of curiosity.
It is nearly 1:45 p.m.
See, it's almost 11 p.m. for me. So we're issues with that. And I'm not allowed to stream. I've tried to stream through the baby's nap time, and I got in trouble. So can't do that ever again. But guys, make sure to follow Ash, obviously, at Deoxy360. He's covering all the Power Rangers Prime comics and anything that comes up, the one-shots as well. And then he's obviously covering the Gojuger. He knows a lot about more than me. So in my videos, where I'll be asking you questions, he can probably answer the questions that I'm asking. So make sure to go check out his stuff. As far as me, I am the channel of inconsistency. I never know what I'm doing the next day. But right now, the best way to follow me is on Facebook and Instagram. I am constantly updating everything entertainment, Marvel, DC, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings. If it's entertainment, it's more than likely going up on my stuff right now. So make sure you're following me there for the latest and updates as well. Power Rangers will always be updated here on the channel. If we get anything more, I will let you guys know as soon as possible. As usually, I try to get up a video as soon as possible. But guys, I think this will probably be the last stream of the year. So I want to thank you all, you guys, we've had an amazing 2024. We've grown over probably we've probably grown 150,000 followers in 2024. So I appreciate every one of you guys. A lot of you guys, I met you guys in Houston. A lot of people came up to me and introduced themselves, and that was amazing. That was a really cool experience. I'll be at maybe a couple of events in 2025. I'm not entirely sure. Denver might be a possibility. And I did apply for San Diego. We'll see how that goes, but that's always that's a lottery sort of situation. But keep up. More stuff always coming. Follow Instagram and Facebook. And I think that's it, guys. Y'all have a great night. I'll see y'all next time. Deoxy, do you know what time it is?
It is lunchtime for me.
All right, it's lunchtime. All right, it's bedtime. But you know what, guys? It's morphin' time. I'll see you guys later. Y'all have a good one.